All right, what's up, guys? So this is just going to be a quick video going over some tips and tricks for anyone who might want to do a straight line mission. Um, I've learned a lot of things. Obviously, I've only done two. I completed the Novi Crossing the second time, but each time I've done it, I've learned a ton of things, um, and I actually changed a lot of things on that second go around. So I just wanted to share some of that with you, just in case anybody else is looking to get started in this and they want to know kind of what other people have done and what kind of gear I'm using. So yeah, anyway, I'll get right into it here. So the first thing I want to talk about, I don't have, I don't actually have them sitting here, but the first thing I want to talk about is basically footwear, because that's the most important thing on a straight line mission is taking care of your feet. Just like with any sort of hiking, camping, anything like that, you're going to be on your feet a lot, and therefore you need to make sure that they're good the whole time. And the best way to do that is to prevent blisters, prevent your feet from getting sore and aching. And that all starts with the right footwear in general. So think about really hard, do you have a good pair of boots? And when I say a good pair of boots, I mean a pair of boots that fits you well. It doesn't matter what brand it is. It doesn't matter, whether it's leather, whether it's whatever it is. Just a pair of boots that fits you really well is more important than anything. And from there, you need to think about kind of your specific use case. So in this sense, we're doing a straight line mission. So we have to accept that we're going to have to go through a lot of terrain that you may not normally go through. And that makes this kind of a unique scenario. So a lot of people might think, okay, I want a pair of boots that's going to be waterproof because I'm going to encounter water no matter what I do. And while I understand why you might think that, the fact is, no matter how waterproof your boots or anything you have are, you're never gonna be fully waterproof unless you're wearing like a spacesuit or something, which obviously you're not gonna do because you need to be mobile and all this kind of stuff. So my philosophy was I actually want a lighter weight, very ventilated pair of boots because at the end of the day, I need to get the water. The water's gonna get there and it needs to be able to get back out. So if you get waterproof boots and you walk through a river or something like that where the water goes over top of your boots and gets inside them, if you have a waterproof membrane surrounding your foot, all that's going to do is hold all that water in there, and it's going to be even worse in the long run. Whereas if you have a really ventilated pair of boots, the water can dry out a lot faster. As you walk, it can sort of squeeze its way out. Similar concept to like what the U.S. Army and the Marines did in Vietnam when they invented the jungle boots, where they have the little holes on the side that let water flow out of them. I mean, the U.S. military spends millions and millions of dollars researching stuff. If the conclusion they came to when it came to Vietnam and wet environments was we need to just let the water back out, then I accept that that's probably the best way to go. So anyway, that's step one. I would say go with a really ventilated pair of boots, lightweight, and something that's ultra comfortable. Because, yeah, I mean, you're going to be on your feet the whole time. So after that, we need to go into taking care of your feet. So once we accept that they're going to get wet, you have to then figure out, okay, my feet are going to get soaked. I need to maybe keep them warm. I need to maybe prevent blisters. I need to do all these kinds of things. So when it comes to that, to me, and again, everything in this video is going to be my opinion. You can take it or leave it. If you think it's a good idea, go for it. So my opinion is that you need to go with a wool hiking sock. Because if you do need, even when it's hot out, if your feet are constantly wet, they're going to get cold. And therefore, wool is your best insulator when it gets wet. And then on top of that, to me, you should have a pair of sock liners. Whether that's a wool pair of sock liners or an synthetic. I think the ones I have are synthetic. But basically, if you don't know, a sock liner is just a really, really thin sock that you put on first, and then you put on your wool socks on top of it. And basically what it does is it creates sort of like two layers like this that can slide against each other inside the sock, which is kind of the same thing that your skin does, which causes a blister. So it allows that to sort of happen between the two stocks instead of your skin sliding. And I can honestly say with wearing sock liners, even with wet feet, I don't think I've ever gotten a blister, even over pretty rough terrain and pretty long term. Yeah, so I think sock liners are a huge must for any straight line mission. And obviously, if you're doing multiple days, the ones I've done so far have not been that. But if you're doing multiple days, you're going to want multiple pairs. So you can let them dry out and you can put on fresh pairs each day. Going up from there, pants wise, I've sort of just been wearing hiking pants, lightweight, breathable, all that kind of good stuff. But what I found is that they don't protect my legs very well. And on a straight line mission, again, as we know, you kind of just have to go straight through stuff. So when there's thorn bushes and all that kind of stuff, it basically pokes right through them, and my legs are destroyed at the end of these missions. Even with wearing pants, I've got scratches and cuts and all kinds of stuff all over them. And especially when going over like chain link fences and stuff like that, the tops can poke through. And I haven't really found a good solution to that yet. I've been scouring the internet. The best thing I've found is the Fjallraven Vita Pros look pretty cool, but I went and checked those out at a store, and the problem is they're a European brand, and I am in no way, shape, or form shaped like your average European. And so I put on what was marked as a 38 waist pair of pants. And I mean, I literally couldn't even get them up my thighs. There was absolutely no way they were going to fit. So I sort of discounted those. And in my opinion, so basically what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pants and modify them. Because in my opinion, what you really need is you need a lightweight, breathable pair of pants. You need a gusseted crotch. You need gussets in the knees to increase your mobility as much as possible. But on top of that, you sort of need strategically placed panels to reinforce the pants. So like a big panel, basically the whole front of the leg. So, a big panel on the thighs and a big panel on the calves. And then maybe like an extra panel on the butt or something like that. To me, that would be ideal, and I really just can't find anything. Obviously, it's very specific, so I'm not necessarily surprised. But I may modify my hiking pants, and if I do, I'll make a video on that, and I'll let you know. Going up from there, yeah, I mean, up top, I pretty much just wear a t-shirt right now. If I was doing multi-day stuff, I would probably go to a more wicking fabric, a more technical fabric, something like that, maybe wool. But to me, that's not a huge deal. And then the jacket I wear, actually, I have right behind me here. This is the jacket that I typically wear. I actually literally got it at a garage sale. I got this and the pants it came with for $5. It's like a heavy, I think it's just cotton or something like that. But it's got these really convenient pockets on the front. And it fits me really well, weirdly, even though I got it at a garage sale. So, yeah, I don't know. This just kind of fell in my lap, so I can't necessarily tell you where to get this. But it's just kind of a woodland camo, sort of thick fabric. It's got little cuffs that are kind of stretchy. It's a zip jacket, nice and heavy duty. Yeah, I really like this. It's worked really well for me. So that's just, more evidence that stuff you get doesn't have to be high-end, expensive hiking stuff, anything like that. I literally got that at a garage sale. I'm sure you could go to, if you're in the U.S., you could go to an Army surplus store. I don't know if they have those in Europe. Maybe. I'm sure they probably do. So you could probably do the same. Or they sell Army surplus stuff online. It's usually not as good of a deal because you got to deal with shipping and people think they can charge way more for it and stuff like that. But you can get a lot of good stuff at Army surplus stores in the U.S., so check that out. So that's pretty much it for clothing. Let me go over a couple of other things here. So the other biggest thing is a good pair of gloves. So These are, what brand are these? These are Petzl. So these are like climbing belay gloves. They're leather on the palms. And then they're like a stretchy fabric material on the back. It's really nice. They fit me really well. And with the Velcro closures, they stay on, and I don't even really notice that I'm wearing gloves. I can still manipulate the keys and the GPS and everything while wearing them. So a good solid pair of gloves is an absolute must, because you're inevitably going to be pushing your way through picker bushes, climbing up fences, and your hands are going to get torn to shreds if you're not wearing a good pair of gloves. And yeah, especially something like leather, something that's really going to protect your hands. That's why I really like those belay gloves, because they're not like just a normal pair of like leather work gloves that are kind of big and cumbersome. They actually fit your hands really well, and because they're stretchy on the back, yeah, they're just a really good option for something like this. They're kind of expensive. I think they run probably 40 or 50 bucks. I don't really remember because I bought those a long time ago. But I mean, I've had them for, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years, and they're still going strong. And obviously I beat the heck out of them. So, I can certainly recommend those ones if you're looking for a good pair of gloves. Going past that, obviously GPS. This is the one that I use. It's a Garmin GPS Map 66i. I think they have a newer version of this now, the 67i. I chose this one because it's got a nice big screen. It's got like actual buttons rather than being like a touch screen like the Montanas. Because again, it's a lot easier to manipulate this with gloves on and stuff than it is to do. Obviously, a touchscreen typically doesn't work with a pair of gloves like that. It's pretty intuitive. Took me a little bit to figure it out, but you can put the bird's eye overhead data, which is a trick I picked up from GeoWizard, which is an absolute must because you can see the terrain a lot better. And I know he said that the bird's eye was only a 1-year subscription, but when I downloaded it with the Garmin app and everything, it says that I have it until like 2038 or something like that. So I don't know. Seemingly I can sort of have it forever, but you can download that. You can put it on here. You can take it back off. You can just put the area that you need on there and everything like that. And you can store lots of different routes. It's got everything you need. So yeah, I really like this option, and the nice big screen is easy to read. Piece of gear that I changed for the second go around was my first go around. I just had that headlamp. I think it was a Black Diamond Icon, but it's probably 6 years old, and I think it was only like 250 lumens or something like that. Definitely wasn't enough, and I was holding it in my hand, which was annoying. So yeah, there was a lot of things I didn't like about that. So I picked this up. This is an Olight Perun 2. It's sold as a headlamp. It came with a little strap so you can sort of wear it on your head like this. But the reason I bought it was because it's got this really big pocket clip on it. And what I did was on that jacket, on those pockets on the front, I just slid this down into the pocket so that it was facing forward. And I basically used it like a headlight, and it honestly worked great. It was, and I mean headlight like headlights on a car. So it was just clipped down on my pocket like this. And the clip was strong enough that it held it there. And so when I turned my body, it would turn the light. And the on-off button's right here on the top. So I could just sort of hit it like that, turn it on and off quickly when I needed to. You saw me doing that when the dog showed up. I was able to just quickly turn it off, or when a car went by, I was able to just quickly turn it off. So yeah, the Olight Perun 2, can certainly recommend that if you're looking for a good... Yeah, I actually haven't used it as a headlamp at this point, but for what I used it for, I really liked it. The fact that it has that sort of 90-degree head made it really useful for what I was trying to do. All right, I'm trying to keep this quick. So, and then if you're planning on filming, your trips. I don't have a ton of experience with different stuff, but I can tell you what I use. I decided to go with this DJI Osmo. I just bought the Action 3 because I didn't feel like I needed to spend the money on the Action 4 or whatever they're on now. Yeah, it's worked really good for me. You can see the quality in my videos. I think it comes out pretty good. Obviously, the nighttime shots are not the best, but it is what it is. And then this head strap is literally just some cheapo brand. I don't even know. Same top. Yeah, I just bought a cheap one I found, and honestly, it's worked great. It's stayed on my head really well. I haven't had any issues with it falling off or anything like that if I tighten it. So obviously, we'll see how it holds up to, the more missions that I do. But so far, it's worked great. And then sort of in addition to that, I got this, which is the DJI battery case. Holds 3 batteries. It also holds some memory cards. So I can put 3 charged batteries in there and carry it with me. And then I can charge them all right in this case. So that's been super useful. So plus the camera and the battery in the camera. I have 4 batteries with me, which on those missions I recorded 100% of what I was doing. So I think the second one took me about 5 hours. Yeah, something like that, 5 hours. And I went through. I didn't run them completely dead, obviously, but I went through 3 batteries. I think. Like I replaced the batteries twice. So yeah, they work pretty good. Okay, sorry about that. I had to go take care of something. So anyway, yeah, the next piece of gear that I carry with me and I don't really use, but is more of an emergency thing, is this compass. It's just a Suunto, fairly basic compass. I am certainly no orienteering or compass expert, but I know the basics of how to use one and how to, do some dead reckoning and stuff like that. So I just keep that as an emergency. Obviously, when I'm doing these shorter ones across Novi, it's probably not necessary, but I just always like to have emergency gear, just in case. If I get hopelessly lost and the GPS dies and whatever, I can bare minimum, know what direction is north, and therefore have some idea of how to get back to somewhere. And that will be especially important when I start doing longer straight line missions or just any kind of mission in general. It's always good to have an emergency backup, way to figure out how to get, where you need to go without needing batteries or anything like that. So that's why I keep that on there. Okay, next biggest thing on the list. I'm sure you're expecting this if you've watched the other videos, but next biggest thing is right behind me here. Trekking poles. Whatever kind. It doesn't have to be these ones. Doesn't have to be Black Diamond. These are just ones that I happen to have. They were an essential part of me completing that straight line mission through Novi. I can honestly say I definitely would not have been able to do it without these. They just give you extra points of contact when you're going through swamps or any kind of sketchy terrain. It will make you infinitely more confident in what you're doing, and honestly will save your legs a lot because you're just able to put a little bit of your weight on your arms. And yeah, it makes a huge difference. These are a carbon fiber pair. They're nice and light. Obviously, weight is a big concern on this because you don't want to carry anything more than you absolutely have to. And yeah, I just think those are an absolutely essential part. If you're thinking about doing straight line missions, get a pair of trekking poles. They will help you. Let's see. I guess I can just backpack itself. So on that first mission, I had like a more, I don't know, quote unquote tactical backpack. It was just like a sling pack. It was just one that I had laying around that was kind of the right size. But it was a terrible choice. A sling pack is a bad idea. I was sick of carrying it after like 20 minutes, to be honest. But I didn't really have a choice at that point, so I just had to grin and bear it. So immediately after that mission, I went around and looked online. I found this. This is the Big Agnes, what is it? Impassable? Yeah, Impassable little 20-liter pack. This thing is great, honestly. I really enjoyed carrying this. I basically didn't even know it was there. It's got, ooh, sorry about that. It's got a halfway decent, yeah, it's got a very decent little hip belt on it. And you can cinch that up, and I basically carried all the way to my hips, obviously, which is what you're supposed to do. And had no issues with fatigue or anything in my shoulders. This, great investment. So get yourself a good, small backpack. Try to go as small as you possibly can. Lay your gear out and say, okay, what's the smallest possible pack I can fit all this in? And then try to get rid of stuff that you don't need, which is something I tried to do a little bit, but I'm always an overpacker. I like to have emergency gear. That's just my personality. So this is just my water bottle. It's just a pretty basic Hydro Flask stainless steel water bottle. Nothing really groundbreaking there. Bug spray, obviously pretty basic. I recommend bug spray with a lot of DEET in it, especially if you're going to be anywhere where there's ticks and stuff like that. Unfortunately, that bug spray is like Picardin or something, which I feel like doesn't really work very well. I know some people don't like DEET because maybe it causes cancer, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. All I know is that DEET is like the only thing that, for me, works keeping bugs away. So I just always recommend get one with a lot of DEET in it. What else? Honestly, there's not really a ton in here. I just, I bring the backpack because I have to carry my camera gear and certain other things. But the main other thing that I always have is this. This is just a basic medical pouch. I keep a tourniquet on the outside. Obviously, that's half the battle is having the medical gear. The other half of the battle is knowing how to use it. Tourniquets are one of the most important pieces of medical gear you can have. If you have to stop major bleeding in any, which obviously is something we have to accept, that like straight line missions are dangerous in general. Like you're going straight through obstacles that most people wouldn't. And there are reasons why most people wouldn't. And one of those reasons is getting injured. And the thing that's going to kill you the fastest is losing all your blood. So having a tourniquet, to me, is a no-brainer on a mission like this. And then the rest of it that's in there is kind of just a basic medical kit, boo-boo kit, Band-Aids, antiseptic, some ibuprofen, stuff like that, just in case I need it, basically. I also carry this with me, which I really haven't used on these shorter missions, but I feel like on a longer one it could be useful. This is just a little monocular, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's half of a binocular. I grabbed this because I thought it would be useful for like scouting ahead a little bit, seeing if there was people in a location that I needed to avoid or something like that. Like I said, on the shorter Novi mission, I didn't really find that I needed to use it much, if it actually at all. I never even pulled it out. So yeah, maybe not necessarily a need, but something I think could be useful going forward, especially if you're crossing farm fields and stuff. It would be useful to be able to see, okay, are there farmers around that I need to avoid or anything like that? I think it could be useful. And honestly, that's pretty much it that was in the bag. I kept a flannel shirt in there. Do I have that? Yeah, I don't know. I also had a flannel shirt that I brought with me, which was more of a piece of emergency gear, just in case, again, I got totally soaked. Maybe the weather changed and it got cold. I had some piece of dry clothing to throw on to keep myself warm if I needed to. Yeah, other than that... Oh, yeah, I had some stuff up here. So I had, like, a poncho, just an emergency poncho. Because I always have to have some emergency gear. I have a lighter and a fire steel. Again, if I don't know, broke my leg and it got cold and I somehow could start a fire or whatever. Who knows? And then I had a backup flashlight, again, just in case something happened to my main light and I needed it. And then obviously I had some food with me. I just brought a bag of like trail mix because it was just a short mission. On future missions, I obviously will have to bring actual food. So, you know, when I start doing that, I'll update you on what my gear loadout looks like. Yeah, so I just wanted to do a quick rundown. That's the gear that I use for these missions. It's served me very well at this point. And I think, yeah, you know, anyone who wants to go start doing any kind of straight line missions or anything like that, I think all this information could be very helpful to you. So, yeah, I encourage anyone to go out there and give it a try. Find some arbitrary thing that you want to cross on a straight line and go do it. Yeah, I hope all of these tips are helpful. If there are any other questions that you guys want to know or gear that I use that you want to know about, just let me know. And I can do a dedicated video on that piece of gear or whatever you want. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Bye.